Hey guys, Braden from Adrenalin Rush Sports Australia. We're going to talk about today on the Kitefit program, something that's very, very simple and probably something you've done for a lot of period of time. It's basically the push-up. Now, I see the push-up as something that no one ever really teaches you how to do. I mean, if you've played, sports, team sports in your past, you've probably done thousands of them, I'm sure. Or maybe if you've done sort of combat sports or whatever, or you've just gone through the school education system, I'm sure you've done a heap of push-ups. But I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever really remember anyone teaching me how to do a push-up effectively, or as, trying to make it as efficient as possible. Now, the reason why we'd probably want to do a push-up, work on having a nice push-up. One, if you're traveling around as a kiteboarder, you can't take a whole lot of gear with you. When you've only got your gear bag and maybe another bag, and a camera bag if you're doing a bit of filming, you're not going to be able to take a heap of weights and dumbbells, kettlebells and all that sort of stuff with you. So trying to really work on building that good strength in the push-up and that horizontal pushing force is definitely something that's going to help you build muscle balance, keep you nice and safe and strong and hopefully injury-free whilst you're kiting in those remote locations where we all know there's not a whole lot of really good medical care out there. So the big thing for the push-up for me is I really like to see people stay engaged and keep the hips up off the ground the entire time. Now what I mean by hips off the ground is when you do come into the bottom position of the push-up, that we're not having like our whole body on the ground. I really like to think about keeping the nose and the chest off the ground, on the ground if we're going to get to contact, and then keeping the hips just off. What you're doing is building up that posterior pelvic tilt or bringing the hips around, okay? Staying nice and engaged. So I'll show you one off the toes, and I'll show you a scaling option as well. So really simple setup. If you have seen the scapular push-up video, check that out. It's a similar sort of setup, but we're not coming as far forward, okay? Now basically I like to push my hands shoulder width apart, just in front of me, set my feet back, and then I like to come out over my hands like that. So I have my elbows stacked on my wrists with my shoulders stacked on my elbows. So what I'm doing in this position here, coming down, notice my hips are staying off the ground, and my pivot point is my toes. I'm not doing this. This is a pretty ordinary push-up, okay? Stay nice and engaged, down, up. Now the scaling options for that would be going off your knees as well. So maybe for girls you can't do a push-up off your toes, or you're just a little bit weaker in that area. Don't take it as an insult, it's just part of life, but you can definitely work on that. So starting on your knees, coming forward, staying engaged, coming down, coming up. Notice I'm not doing this. That's not what we're after, staying nice and engaged, down and up. Now one last thing is elbow position. So as I do come into the the push-up, we don't want our elbows to be glued to our ribs. We don't want them flared out like this. I like to keep nice and comfortable, sort of around 45 degrees. So maybe if you can try and see it from this angle, coming down and up. Notice I'm not like this, or I'm not like this, okay? Push up. You're probably wondering why am I watching a video about a push up, but hey, you might have got something out of this. You might be doing something snaking off the ground or some sort of version of a crappy push up in the past. Implement it, I guarantee it's quite difficult. And if you do it to a cadence, second down, pause, second up, you make it pretty brutal. So chuck that into your program. If you're traveling, try and do that as well, and that'll definitely help you stay nice and fit and strong whilst you're on your kiting trips. Braden from Adrenalin Rush, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next week for another episode of the Kitefit program. Cheers guys.
Check out adrenalinrush.net.au for all the links.